Hi, good morning. I'll be presenting regarding the topic of a novel technique of sulcus placement of the Orolab aqueous drainage implant in pseudophakic eyes. Um, so um, the glaucoma drainage devices, they're a popular procedure for choice in refractory glaucomas, and the ADI implant is a newer non-viral glaucoma drainage device offering good long-term control, as in various studies. The most significant long-term complication is a corneal endothelial damage, and the techniques for tube insertion include the ciliary sulcus and the pars plana. However, pars plana is, although safe when performer experience hands, but significant risks of vitreoretinal complications if not. The ciliary sulcus is a potential anatomical space owing to its expansion following cataract surgery, and studies have shown that it offers good IOP reduction and reduced endothelial cell loss. The sulcus placement, which is the conventional method, which is a blind entry. It's an ab externo procedure, but how it has lots of complications involving bleeding, traumas to the ciliary body, IOL complex, and it has a longer learning curve. So the aim of the study is to report the initial clinical outcomes of the new technique. It involved a retrospective case series of data in the duration, and it involved 9 patients, both pseudophakic and phakic. The phakic patients underwent phacomulsification with ADI tube implant by the new technique, and the pseudophakic patients underwent primary ADI tube implantation by the new technique. The patients were more than 16 years of age, had at least 3 months of follow-up, and underwent the new technique. Complete eye examination was done. The indication was scar conjunctiva from previous SICS and NVG, eye syndrome, extensive conjunctival scarring, and failed trap. The surgical technique was as standard implantation of the ADI as such, and the plate was anchored using 9 nylon sutures. Implant was primed, tube was occluded, and the absence of flow was confirmed as well. Coming to the way of implanting the tube, I'll just be showing you this video. A 4 into 4 mm of a 4 into 6 mm screedal flap was made, and the tube was trimmed so as to incorporate a segment of 4 millimeters into the anterior chamber. There was a needle that was inserted 180 degrees away from the site through a limbal paracentesis, and it was a 21 gauge needle, and it traversed the anterior chamber, reaching the area under the iris ciliary sulcus and exiting at the scleral bed partially, as you can see, and the tube was inserted into the through the hollow end of the bevel, and it was withdrawn, allowing it to be placed in the sulcus. So I'll also just show an animated video about the same regarding the path of the needle. So it enters from the opposite side, the limbus, into the anterior chamber, reaching the ciliary sulcus and withdrawn, thereby positioning the tube in place. This is just a schematic thing of the video. There were 9 patients, and the mean age was 57 years. Mean follow-up was around 4 months. More males, more secondary glaucomas, consisting on 6 patients, 6 of the 9 patients. This is just a table showing all the patients that were included. The IOP reduced from 28 to 11, statistically significant. The anti-glaucoma medication also reduced from 3 to 0.4, which was statistically significant as well. The visual acuity also improved. Obviously, some patients underwent phacomulsification, but the visual acuity improvement was not statistically significant as such. There were complications noted. 2 of them had choroidal detachments at 8th week of follow-up. 1 of them subsided on conservative management. The second patient underwent AC reformation with pars release and tube repositioning. Mainly, the patient had a history of trauma following the surgery and hence underwent that. There were no intraoperative complications as such, and studies have shown comparable outcomes between sulcus placement and anterior chamber placement of the tube. The common technique involves a creation of a scleral tunnel using a 23 gauge needle mounted on a viscose syringe, and the entry was made towards the ciliary sulcus 1.5 to 2 mm from the limbus. Some of the previous studies have also used a sectoral iridectomy to confirm placement of the tube in small irises. Another study also described the similar way, wherein they use a 23 gauge needle and they form the AC using sodium hyaluronate using a temporal paracentesis. So in contrast to this technique, the main advantage was that the accuracy of placement in the sulcus in a controlled fashion by the withdrawal of the needle, and it may help in shortening the learning curve in the sense that the training surgeons can help place a tube in the sulcus, avoiding multiple blind entry attempts. fine. Next slide. In the present case, there were no patients who had hyphema or any significant post-operative inflammation, although that was highly expected, suggesting probably if we have a general fill of viscoelastic, there could be minimum damage to the angle structure and limited contact with the tube. And the significant decrease in intraocular pressure number of anti-glaucoma medications was noted in our study, which was similar to others. And the occurrence of choroidal detachments in 2 patients, one of which had a history of trauma. The other one had angle closure glaucoma. So whether it was due to the pathology per se rather than peritubal leakage, that's still a question. The limitations of the study was its retrospective nature. It's a small sample size because it was an initial report, and there was limited follow-up of the same. There was lack of corneal endothelial counts prior to the procedure because that would help tell about the corneal status. So in conclusion, our technique of sulcus placement is a precise and simple technique of tube insertion. It appears to be a safe alternative to existing procedures, limiting multiple brine entries and thereby preventing damage to adjacent angle structures. However, further study is required and a long-term follow-up is needed to denote the long-term efficacy and safety of this technique. Thank you.
Dr. Sanjana, one brief question and then the other judges will ask you. And that is, most of these valves, they are placed supratemporally, right? These valves placement is generally done supratemporally. So how difficult it is to use this needle from nasal side, because that is the most difficult area to enter. So how do you do it exactly?
So basically, I mean, obviously, for a right-hander, for a right-hander, the right eye will be maybe little easier as compared to the left eye. But they have, I mean, the valve is placed with the help of a corneal. There's a corneal traction suture anyway, which is there. I'll just show in the video if at all needed, which is prior to placement of the valve. So the corneal traction suture can help move the globe accordingly and help position the needle, so that it stays 180 degrees apart.
Is it a single corneal traction suture, or you give more than once for the positioning of the globe?
There was just
single
one,
will not be enough, I suppose.
Probably, I mean, in this, basically in what I have seen, there was a single corneal traction suture that was used, which was of a vicryl suture, probably a 6 or 7-0 vicryl.
So, Dr. Parihar, you have anything? You have done so many valves surgeries.
Dr. Parihar, in your mute. Yeah, thank you.
You have rightly brought out the constraints and all technical part. I would ask you how many cases you have done yourself, Dr. Rao, in this series?
So honestly, it's my senior, Dr. Devendra, who has done the procedure. I'm merely a junior, but my senior, Dr. Devendra, he does a lot of ADI tubes, and this is basically his study.
I got your answer.
Yeah.
Dr. Shakeen, may I ask if he's there?
So what's your choice? Is the longer tube or the smaller tube, and how you specifically size the tube, what you have to put into pars plan?
So this is for the sulcus, and the second thing is that it's fashioned in such a way that it leaves an intraocular segment of at least around 4 millimeters. And it's fashioned bevel up specifically because we have to put in the
time is up. Please stop. We can ask the next. Dr. Manavdi, please invite the next.